when I first spoke, this is not the Victoria I remember. So thank you all for throwing it down for Palestine in Victoria in 2024, 2025, 2026. We commit to being here for Palestine until Palestine is free. I think some people need a reminder that this did not start on October 7th. Let's provide some examples. Gaza has been under a suffocating blockade for almost 2 decades. What happened in 2018? The people of Gaza tried to walk out of Gaza. The World Bank and the United Nations declared Gaza to be unlivable by 2020. Dirty drinking water, already starvation, hunger levels escalating in Gaza, high levels of unemployment, periodic bombardments. We saw thousands of Palestinians killed in 2014. So the Palestinians try to non-violently walk out of Gaza. Are people aware of this in 2018? On the Great March of Return, the Palestinians tried to do what the West always demands they do. They walked out unarmed in front of the whole world in 2018, in front of us, in front of the just people of the world, in front of the good people of the world, which we count ourselves, but we watched. We failed them. We watched them walk out of Gaza and get massacred. We watched the Zionist army in front of the whole world massacre unarmed Palestinians in 2018. And yet still they demand that Israel can keep one of the largest armies in the world, and they demand that Palestinians disarm. This is the demand that is on the table right now for the ceasefire resolution. They want a permanent military occupation of Gaza, and they want a disarmed Palestinian people. You must refuse this equation. Palestinians have the right to resist the occupation by any means. If Western countries, if Justin Trudeau is really about peace and nonviolence, he will disarm the Israeli military immediately. That should be your first course of action. We want a ceasefire, but not any ceasefire. Withdraw that military, sanction the military, free all Palestinian prisoners from those Israeli dungeons where they're being tortured to death right now. All we hear about are hostages on one side. What about the thousands of Palestinians who are tortured and tortured to death? Children, young children like Ahmed Mansara, arrested at age 13, still in prison, been in solitary confinement for 10 years. Our racist governments don't say one word of Palestinian children who have been tortured in these Israeli prisons for 10 years, and he's still sitting there. We don't hear. They represent every Palestinian action as an act of irrational, savage terrorism. They don't want to hear the legitimate Palestinian demands. What have Palestinians been demanding? Free our prisoners. Stop stealing land in Gaza and the West Bank. Do you know that in 2022 was the most land stolen in the West Bank in years, in the year leading up to October 7th? Do you hear a word about the thousands of Palestinians who lost their land in the 12 months between October 22 and October 2023? Every attempt by the Palestinians to press their demands falls on deaf ears. They try to walk out peacefully. It falls on deaf ears. Israel's granted constant impunity. And the people in Gaza and the people in the camps in Jordan and Lebanon, they also want to return to the homes they were expelled from in 1948 and 1967. Do you support their right to return? Do we support the right of the Palestinians to return to their homes? They think we're going to forget. They think this is going to become normal part of our world. The transforming of hospitals into death camps, the slaughtering of children, the maiming of children at a rate unprecedented. But what they don't understand is we will never forget because they don't know who we are. We are, who are we? In our millions, in our billions. In our millions, in our billions. In our millions, in our billions. Why do we say that? Because we know none of us are free until all of us are free. Our liberation is bound up within one another. If this world that they built requires us to be silent, with 20,000 children massacred, 20,000 more orphaned, the rewards they give us are worth nothing. The salaries they pay us are worthless. All of these are soaked in blood if this requires our silence on this. So keep that energy with you each and every day when you get up. Understand that we are not free. We are destroying our souls and our humanity watching this every single day. And it didn't just happen in Palestine. We watched this happen in Iraq. We watched this happen in Libya. We watched this happen in Afghanistan. And we just go the fuck on with our lives. And I'm sorry for cussing, but it's got to stop. We cannot keep bombarding and killing people in that region just to keep a control over resources and imposing so much suffering. We have to, if people strike for higher wages here, why can't we strike to end a genocide? If we strike for better benefits, for better extended healthcare benefits, why can't we strike to stop our complicity in slaughtering children in Shujaiya as happened yesterday? So now is the time to remember we can mourn. Give yourself the grace to mourn every day, but now is not the time for defeatism. Now is the time when we say it loud, say it clear, liberation is near, it is true. Now is the time to double down and increase resistance and increase steadfastness. These institutions will start to crack. We can see that they're cracking and they will crack. We have to push through those cracks. And if the cost of us fighting against the genocide in Gaza is that our systems come to crisis in the United States or Canada, let it be so. These systems are not worth preserving otherwise. People in the United States where I'm living right now, they're all worried. Well, what if the election goes one way and our living day to day in the United States becomes difficult? Well, maybe people in the United States need to deal with those conditions, because otherwise, are you just going to sleep through this genocide? So let's bring our institutions to crisis. Don't let the University of Victoria have 1 minute of normalcy. Don't let that legislature have 1 minute of normalcy. Everything is at stake in Palestine today. A free Palestine is our only road to a world constructed on love and where the human soul is at the center. Otherwise, we will be in a world built on hate and calculation and cowardice. Lose your cowardice, lose your fear. Truly, I know there were chants there, but we all have a bit of cowardice in our hearts. We're all afraid of losing our jobs. We're all afraid something's going to happen. But if we all stand together, what can they do to us? You think isolated at my workplace, there can be retaliation. Isolated, something can happen to me. But if I stand with 20 people, with 30 people, 40 people, what can they do? Let them fire 20 people. Let them fire 30 people. Let them malign the names of all of us. At least we know we went down fighting a genocide. I'm so in awe that you all come out every Saturday, and I know you're going to keep coming out and fighting until this genocide ends. But there needs to be escalation. We can't de-escalate, we need to escalate. They say there's a red line in Rafah, then Rafah is invaded. Every red line is a lie. All they're doing is giving cover for Israel to bomb more every day. The only red line for the Biden administration in the West is Palestinian resistance. That's the red line. They say if you stop resisting and give up your sovereignty, we can let you live as second-class citizens under Zionist occupation forever. So the red line is criminalizing Palestinian resistance. Stand with the Palestinians' right to resist. Push for boycott, and let's keep fighting for a free Palestine.